I am Nigel, known to most people as Ned, and this is my wife, Annie.
Who can't speak for herself.
I've never heard him introduce himself as Nigel.
Well, what do you want me to say then?
Nigel is your more formal name. You are my mum and dad, to those that don't know you already.
Might be news to one of us.
Not me.
So, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Probably some of them might be a bit difficult, and I apologise for that, but it's probably something we don't really sit down and talk about as a family, because we like to just get on with things, so sorry if it's a bit difficult.
So get on with it.
Okay. Can you describe the day I was diagnosed? What do you actually remember clearly about it? And is there anything that's a blank?
I can remember having a cup of tea in a cafe afterwards.
Well, that's it. That's right then.
I may have even had a piece of cake. I can't remember. I think I needed something to soften the blow. I think.
I can remember two things I remember really, really vividly. One was the consultant asked where Dad. You and I were both really worried about how we were going to tell Dad with us.
I was in the waiting room,
and the consultant insisted he wouldn't say anything else until Dad came in because it wasn't fair for us to have to tell him.
Yeah, that's good.
And I can remember you and I. The first thing we said is, "Oh God, how are we going to tell Dad?" And the consultant said, "Where's Dad?" And he said, "Well, bring him in here." And I think it was Anne came and got him, didn't he?
Yeah, why was Dad in the waiting room?
Because he didn't want to come in.
No, I think I was told. You're not coming in. Overpowered the man.
So I can remember that. I can remember you to tap your foot.
Yeah.
And you got so frustrated because you couldn't tap your foot. I remember the lovely Anne, the Parkinson's nurse, giving us a great big hug. And then I remember that we basically said, well, kind of, what do you want to do today? And you went, let's go and have tea and cakes.
Much to Dad's delight.
And paying. In the middle of all that, you got that amazing text from when he said, I've got a group of year one students with a load of plasticine and we're about to make a cure for Parkinson's.
Who was that from?
I'm sure that was Kevin.
Oh, sorry, the voice crackled when you said who it was. I couldn't hear who you said it was. Yeah, it was Kevin, you're right.
Yeah, I remember that. And then I remember we just went and had a lovely family day out. I said, well, we're in London, let's just go and have a really nice day. Let's go and have lunch, let's walk down the embankment. And we kind of...
I can remember going in the giraffe restaurant as well, having food in there. That was good.
All Dad remembers about the day was the food.
In times of crisis, we eat as a family, don't we?
We eat, yeah, that's right. So...
got to get on with it, haven't you?
But I can also remember...
how many rememberings?
How many rememberings am I allowed?
How many of you can remember? This is more than I can remember.
Can't get a word in edgeways here.
I can remember...
You were in the waiting room, Dad.
putting you on the train to go back, sort of leaving you at the station and thinking, this is absolutely awful, we shouldn't be sending our daughter off on a train on the day she's had a diagnosis like this. And then I can remember phoning my best friend Bev and saying, I need to go out for a drink. And you know I don't drink, do I?
Not really, no.
They picked us up in the car and I drank a lot and giggled a lot and then cried a lot. And Beth remembers that because she said, I've never known you phone up and say I need a drink.
Yeah, and I've never known you say that in the whole time.
I think your mum actually swore.
Really? Bloody excuse my language.
Yeah, I did actually.
Or I need a drink.
I think it warrants a swear word, to be honest.
Yes, I think so.
And it warrants a getting drunk. I think I'd have probably got drunk if I wasn't kind of too concerned about my health at that point.
What do I remember?
Food.
Apart from the food, was sitting in the consultant's room. How have we both done this to you? I remember that.
I remember you saying that.
Hey?
I remember you saying something similar like around there.
And then I can remember thinking, were we asked if there was anything in the family or something? I can't remember.
Yeah.
And apart from my dad having Alzheimer's, we didn't really know of anything else. So, how can this happen? And to somebody so young, and why isn't it me? And all those kind of things go through your head. And I remember we had a great day. It was a good old day, and we decided there and then that a special day every year. Well, it was a special day for good reasons and for bad reasons, but it was a special day. And you remember special days, don't you?
Yeah, exactly that. I'll tell you what I remember from it. I remember standing in that little garden opposite the hospital calling Jamie.
Yes, yeah.
And him, like, not really being sure how to take it, but really, like, learning from how I was already at that stage, like, as a family, we were learning to take their lead from me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can remember just hanging back and thinking, let's see how Emma deals with this, and then we're kind of go with it.
I remember texting the work colleagues and them all being really positive and saying stuff around Emma's army and wearing hats and stuff, making snapback hats with jewels on. And I can remember Anne very awkwardly talking about addiction in front of you guys.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
And me sat there with my new clothes on.
Yeah, I remember that.
All that is still pretty vivid.
Yeah, I think it's weird how different things stick with us as well. Like, I don't actually remember the moment they told me though. It's like one of those weird kind of. I remember kind of thinking few in my head, but I can't remember like how they said it or anything. A lot of other people can remember vividly how they were told, but I can't remember the wording or anything. I think I probably blanked out a bit for that.
I think he said something like to the effect that we said it might be this, and yes, it definitely is. So I think it wasn't like somebody coming out of the blue, because I think there had been that suggestion that it might be Parkinson's. And I think he kind of said, yeah, we thought it might be, and it is. And he was just really practical, wasn't he?
So, from your kind of first feelings on that day, how have your feelings changed about it, if at all, in the time after the diagnosis? So, did it kind of change in the week after, or in the years after, or?
Well, as you've done, you've come to terms with it incredibly quickly. And I think because you did that, I think we did the same. I think we suddenly realised there's no point dwelling on it and make the best of what it is. And because you've done that so amazingly, I think we have to be the same. We can't be any different. So we moved on from it fairly quickly. I mean, you obviously have the ump sometimes, and we don't get to hear about it, but
the Parkinson's ump.
But most of the time, you're pretty upbeat about everything. So why shouldn't we be?
Do you know what though, Dad? You'd be surprised at how many people don't take their lead from the person that they're speaking to. You know, there's so many people out there that really struggle as parents, and actually they make it harder for the person that's been diagnosed. I know people that told them not, that actually said not to mention it. They've been told not to tell anyone because their parents can't handle it.
No, the only thing we...
Well, you do feel sort of guilty.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
The only thing we had was that a lot of our friends assumed that arrangements for you to come home and live with us again.
Everyone assumes that now, don't they?
And that, and of course she's going to come back and live with you. And I think I went on a mission, didn't I, to help you find a flat.
Yeah.
With friends. So I think people thought it was really weird that it almost looked like I was trying to throw you out because I was trying to find you somewhere else to live.
We didn't want you coming back.
But we knew the worst possible thing would be for you to leave all your friends, leave you know, all the people you know in London, and to come home. Probably deep down we would have really enjoyed that for a while, just to kind of fuss you and look after you and care for you and all that, but it would have been the worst possible thing in the world to do for you.
I think I was with
so
you for...
I think I became obsessed with finding your flat for you, didn't I?
And I'd just turn your bedroom into an office and you won't get enough.
I think the thing was I came back for like a couple of weeks, didn't I? And that was almost long enough for you guys to see that I was okay.
Yeah, but it wasn't straight away, was it? I think it was when you were trying to find somewhere to live, wasn't it?
Yeah. So in one of my TED Talks, I just make it sound really cocky by saying it like that. There's no question.
Just one of them.
Yeah, one of many.
I talked about confidence and the fact that actually having a really solid grounding and a kind of a really happy childhood and the love that you guys gave me actually really helps me to kind of have a base to be able to cope with something like this, because I knew who I was, I knew that I could kind of take on the world really easily, whatever happened. Is there something that your parents gave to you that you think you've kind of passed on to me, or like anything that made your lives easier to kind of cope with because of your parents?
A sense of humour.
Yeah, definitely that.
When things get bad, try and make something amusing out of it.
Yeah.
I think, and my dad taught me that.
Yeah, that's true.
Life does throw you a curveball every so often. Sometimes a really big curveball, but I think just if you've got humour and laughter and people around you to sort of enjoy that humour and laughter.
If you think of when we went for the test between Christmas, which were really quite serious tests, there's a family thing of giggling when you're scared, isn't there? I think the woman is totally confused because the pair of us were nearly hysterical giggling about something, and she's thinking these are serious tests. But I think, you know, the other thing is, I think me really encouraged you to do was to be yourselves. And to not feel you've got to have the same branded trainers as everybody else, and you haven't got to have this, you haven't got to have that. So we kind of encourage you to be quirky.
Yeah.
I think that gives you a confidence, because the kids at school that were desperate to have the right trainers and to have the football kits and all of those sorts of things kind of lost confidence if they weren't the same as everybody else. But we kind of really encourage you to be yourselves and be quirky. And that gives you confidence, doesn't it?
That's true, that's very true.
But actually, you weren't confident as a small child.
No,
I think probably the thing we did for you, which is nothing to do with anything our parents did for us, was to send you to those speech and drama lessons.
Yeah.
You know, Food Redford's got a lot for us to be grateful to, because that just built your confidence.
Yeah, that's true, actually. That's really true. I'll make sure I tag her in this video.
Yeah, tag her in it. But also, like, standing up and talking to people and things like that. I can remember you, when you couldn't even see over the pulpit in St Andrew's Church, and you'd had or something, standing up at Christmas reciting a poem and then collapsing in a heap afterwards because you were so poorly. And it's that kind of thing that, you know.
I wouldn't be able to see over the top of it now, so...
Yeah.
I don't think we worry about making brats of ourselves as well. I think that's the other side of the humour thing as well. That, you know, you can try something, you can fail miserably, but if you can have a laugh about it, it doesn't matter, does it? Because you've learned from it. It's been a good experience, and I think, you know, I'm making a prat of myself all the time, but it doesn't matter because I enjoy it.
but also within that was that thing that I don't think we achieve. Or you've got to get 3 A stars, you've got to get this, you've got to get that. You got what you could get, and we were really proud of you for doing it.
Yeah.
And other people were really bothered that their kids are going to go to university, they've got to do this, they've got to do that. But it was a case of, if you wanted to do it, we hadn't got a plan for what you were going to achieve when you were 5 and things like that. So that actually makes you more flexible if life chucks you something that's a bit different. You think, well, actually, and as it is, you and Jamie have both achieved so much, but we couldn't have anticipated what any of those things would have been beforehand.
Yeah, it's something like that. But I think, like, the fact that you're that kind of accepting as parents, you know, I think it has kind of made it so that we're not scared of failing, and actually we probably achieve more because we don't have that fear.
Yeah.
And you learn by failing. I can remember when you were doing your GCSEs and you went, "What, I've got all this revision time, I'm going to buy a cinema pass." And I suggested that maybe revision time was for revision. And you went off and you did stuff, and you were quite disappointed with a couple of your, but you learned from it. And at the end of the day, who's going to ask what your GCSE results are now?
No one.
But you learned something from that, didn't you?
Lie as well.
You know, nobody
No one would ever check. I got 9 A stars. I saw over there.
Liar. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, not meaning to be soppy, but I'm going to be soppy anyway. When I was diagnosed, you look to the people that are around you to kind of be, to help kind of guide you in what you're going to do. And I feel incredibly lucky that I had, friends around me that were really kind of calm people and very comfortable in their own skin and who treated it almost as if like it was nothing, it was nothing, not in a bad way. And then I had Jamie, who was just like so in tune with his emotions, bless him, but he's just he's a bit of a softie sometimes, but he was very sweet about it and very kind. And then I had you guys, and like for like very different reasons, you are both very different people, but you work so well as a kind of parent group.
As a parent.
Because obviously Mum, you are a really kind, very sweet person, and you also have this kind of incredible knowledge about what is right and what is wrong and how people should be treated, and you kind of really instilled it.
Trying to hear what you were saying.
And like Dad, with the way that he's acted since his eyesight and stuff, and actually how you've acted as a couple, I just think was a really kind of powerful thing for me to see and to go through with you, because it kind of made me realise that actually disability isn't the end of everything, it's the beginning. The amount of stuff that you do now, Dad,
you're still you, that's the thing, you're still you. Whatever happens, it doesn't change you in any way, shape or form, does it?
Well, if you look at what Dad's done, look at what Dad's done since his eyesight.
I'll look at it this way, you sort of you plus, but you plus in a good way.
That's the really good thing, that you don't consider it.
You used to be you, and now you plus because you've got Parkinson's. I'm you, and now I'm you partially sighted because I'm partially sighted. But it's like it's not you plus. It's in a bad way. It's you plus.
But it's also the really important thing there is that you didn't say you minus. That's the important thing. Having that as you grow up, how can you go wrong, to be honest? That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to go too soppy in it, but...
Yeah.
Okay, so it's been a pretty roller coaster 5 years. We're coming up to 5 years now. We should have a little fifth birthday, I think, like a clown and stuff.
5 candles.
5 candles, I probably won't be able to blow them out. I'll get the food everywhere, but... okay, I'm going to do a quick fire round for you.
Quick fire?
Quick fire. What do you think has been the hardest thing during those 5 years?
I'll answer quickly. Your neck.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
your neck.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It sort of knocked you.
Yeah.
And we what it's time to see the way you are, and I think the sooner we can get it sorted in some way or other, the better, really, for you mostly.
I'm up for becoming one of those like old-fashioned ghosts that have them under their arm if we need to. If they have to cut the head and get under my arm, I'm up for that. At least I'll be the right way around.
Yeah. No, I think your neck's definitely been the hardest thing. I think because there's nothing. We fight as a family. We work out what the battle is and we fight it. And with his, they keep changing what the fight is.
Yeah.
Actually, that's the other thing, is the frustration about kind of most of my working life. I've been shouting at services to do things and do them properly. These are your battles. So yes, there's time you said to me, can you phone? But I can't pick up the phone and shout at people quite as much as I'd like to sometimes.
Yeah.
I have to sort of maybe give you bullets to fire.
And
that's difficult.
My sort of 30 years in, it was about finding solutions all the time.
Yeah.
And most of the time I found good solutions, and there haven't been good solutions on your neck, and that's frustrating, I think, as well, because I still think in some respects that I'm trying to fix you. I know I can't personally fix the Parkinson's, but the neck thing is like something that I feel I can fix, but I can't because I don't know what I'm fixing.
No, I totally
go in the garage, get some wood, get some wood,
maybe a plank. Strap me to a plank, so that would work. Okay, this probably seems like a weird question, but I think we've actually had quite a lot. What's been your best moment of this last 5 years?
seeing how you've overcome some major challenges, i.e., standing in front of people and giving amazing speeches. The night, which I must admit I was very worried about, but you came through it very, very strongly and did an amazing job. I don't know, it's just that the best moments are when we see what you're capable of, and why shouldn't you be capable of those things?
Exactly.
But the bottom line is you go.
Yeah, I think, I don't know about the best moment. The kind of the moment when we realised things were going to take off was watching the documentary on television last December before last. It was strange. It was almost like everybody else had a piece of you, so that was weird. But you kind of thought nothing's going to be the same after this. So that was good. I think the other thing as well was when you did your book launch and all those people were in one room together.
Yeah, it was like a wedding.
Yeah, that's right. And we were all there for one reason. And there was that sense of people here. So as parents, you try ever so hard not to show that you're worrying, and you kind of you let your adult child get on with things, but being in that room with a whole load of people who we thought, actually they're there for Emma, so it doesn't matter, there's always somebody there for Emma. That was really powerful.
What has surprised you the most over the last 5 years?
What did you say? Sorry, pardon?
What has surprised you the most over the last 5 years?
Surprised.
I think how you've dealt with it.
Yeah, it's the same question.
It's the same. Yeah, I think.
All right.
Although we didn't doubt that you would cope with it, I think we've been surprised at how you've done more than coped with it. You've kind of taken it as a mission, people are diagnosed with Parkinson's. Lots of those people just get on and live their lives as much as they can, but you've kind of just grabbed it and gone, I'm on a mission with this. And you've never been political with a small p in any way, shape or form. You've never fought any causes, you've never shown any interest in current affairs or anything like that. And then suddenly there's this Emma that's up on stage demanding stuff or telling the Prime Minister what to do about research. And it's like, I thought this is when something happens and you need that to make you have a cause and to put all of that energy into something.
What have you learned about Parkinson's that surprises you?
It's a bugger. No, it's a bugger. It's worse than you think it is.
It's different for so many different people. If it was one thing that everybody was dealing with, I don't know, I'm no scientist, but I'm sure it would be much easier to find solutions. But because everybody you've mentioned and everybody you've interviewed all seem to have like different sort of things happening to them, it's like a moving target sometimes. And I think that's such a frustrating thing. I thought Parkinson's was like Parkinson's.
The shakes.
The tremors, and exactly. I hadn't realised how many other things are involved and how varied that can be from sort of person to person. And I think I've learned most about Parkinson's. It's not you can't capture it in one hit. Yeah, that's why it's sort of frustrating.
And I think the other thing I've learned is just how horrible the medication is. It's like I went into this, I thought I knew quite a lot about various illnesses and diseases and things like that, but there was all the other things that went into Parkinson's. So I thought if you took something that would sort your tremors out, your hand will get stronger and that would be fine.
Yeah.
But the stuff about when you were first diagnosed and the tablets were making you sick and everything they were giving you to make you better was making you worse. What they're saying there about, could it be the patches that are making your neck funny? It's almost like every time they give you something that's a solution, and we all sit and read the side effect things on packets and that, but the side effects on Parkinson's medication are truly horrible.
They're actually worse than the symptoms sometimes.
I was going to say, and they almost create a kind of a disease in its own right, which is, you know, the disease of side effects. And I think I hadn't realised just how powerful they were and how horrible they could be.
Okay, so right now, if Parkinson's was stood in front of you, what would you say to it?
I've got this one. That's what I thought about. I would actually say we've learned enough. We've learned what we can do as a family. We've learned about Emma's friends. We've learned how strong Emma is. We've done all of that now. Now just bugger off, because you've proved your point. We've learned. Now just clear off. Your work is done. Go pester somebody else. No, actually not pester somebody else.
No.
Wish it. But you know, I think we can say all the positives that have happened through it, and we can say all the things that about Parkinson's, but actually that doesn't mean we want it to stay here forever. And if somebody said we'll take it away, then you'd go for it, wouldn't you?
We're getting a bit bored with it now.
Yeah, actually it's getting really boring.
I'm getting bored now.
Bored of you.
It's proved the point.
Just ignore it. Start tapping your watch.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, and final question. If you were sat in front of that was me just more than anything else.
If anybody makes sense of this, it'd be amazing.
I'm going to do so much editing on the ones that I've done over the last couple of days just because I can't speak mainly. Okay. If you were put in front of the parents of a newly diagnosed person, what would you say to them? What advice would you give to them that you've learned over the last 5 years?
I'd say do nothing for at least a day. Say nothing more than how are you feeling about this, and do nothing. Just stand back and do not rush into anything. Do not suddenly convert your house and put in a walk-in shower and all sorts of things like that. Don't start planning what's going to happen next. Just take your breath and stand back and wait. And then see what your son or daughter does and kind of trot along behind and
be creative in the way you think about it. I mean, from a family of 4 creative people, and that's all you've sort of ever known. And I think if you're creative, you don't sort of necessarily examine something and think of life in a bad way. You tend to think of how is it going to affect my life in a good way, because, and I think that's what you've done and we've all done, really.
Absolutely. But basically, you don't have to do anything straight away.
No.
You know, it's a lifelong illness. So even if you take a week to sit with your head in your hands quietly somewhere, or
just have a cup of tea and a piece of cake.
Oh yeah, exactly. Or clean. I think I cleaned the house from top to bottom, didn't I? When we came back.
Probably.
And certainly don't start telling your son or daughter what they need to be doing.
No.
Yeah.
And build an army.
Build an army. Yeah, absolutely. Build an army.